Yes.
Okay.
Don't sit down yet,
But
Sidra.
I'm having a hard time getting the same count on this
wow.
side that I did on that side. I don't know why.
That is amazing.
Look at
It's
that.
beautiful.
Oh, that
And
is
and
so
the
gorgeous.
pockets.
I don't think I do pockets again.
Oh, but they're gorgeous.
They
Wow.
They
are.
are very, very cool.
Beautiful.
And I love how you incorporated the pattern across the pocket.
So, yeah.
That's really beautiful.
Thank you. It's got to be done this week. So,
Oh,
because I'm going back down to California on Wednesday. Because my granddaughter's graduating for black belt, and then my other daughter's having a housewarming because she just moved into Modesto. So,
Nice.
yeah.
And where do you live?
Vancouver, Washington.
Oh, right.
Used to live in Tracy.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, up until last year.
Looks like we're almost joined by David. There he is. Hi, David. David, say something. I'm not hearing you.
That's because I haven't talked yet.
Oh,
Oh,
well, that would
okay.
be a good reason. Yes.
Forgive me for being late and
No problem.
for bringing in an irritating question, but
Oh, you're going to start with an irritating question? That's great.
I don't know. if
You have
it's
some of the
a-
greatest questions.
Yes, you do.
Well, Here I am. Last time I was in the group, I followed up and got to a point where I created something that I think is correct thus far. It looks like a great big C,
Yes,
something that would fit over the back.
yes.
Okay. Then I got to the spot where I know I need to connect those two flaps to create the beginning of the front. And I'm looking at my instructions. I'm trying to remember what page it is. I'm sorry, I should have been more prepared.
That's okay. Are you about to pick up stitches across the cast on edge? The two cast on edges? That's the next thing if you finish the back.
I think it's just I didn't understand what to do when you say cast on stitches against. I'm trying to figure out what your language is. Hang on a minute. I numbered the pages.
I don't
myself
have
some
page
notes.
numbers. I can't refer to page numbers. You have to tell me titles. And you're doing a
Okay.
crew neck? Is it a crew neck?
I'm doing a crew neck.
Okay.
Just talk among yourselves while you do your thing.
Okay. Talk among ourselves.
What
Well,
if we
I'm
don't
gonna
have
bring
anything
up
to say?
a crew neck pattern so I can see. Well, I'll share with you that we had perfect weather and perfect health for the whole trip. We were
Wonderful.
gone for 2 weeks. And as you know, those of you who met while I was gone, which I heard happened, which I'm really happy about. And then I came home, and yesterday I came down with a cold.
Oh
I
no.
sound a little rough. It's because I have a cold, and it's just in my nose, so I don't think it's COVID. I've had 2 vaccines. I was going to get my 3rd one this morning and decided, well, if I've got a cold, I better go get a test instead of a vaccine. So that's where I'm at.
Oh. So
Yeah.
where did you visit while you were on the cruise?
We started in Munich, and we were in Munich for 2 nights. one full day. We did a walking tour in the inner city of Munich. And then we took a bus ride to Vilshofen, Germany, where we boarded a ship on the Danube River.
Oh,
We then cruised down the Danube River, and it was just awesome. We went to towns I've never heard of before, like Passau, which I think was in Germany still, Linz, which is in Austria, I believe. I got it all confused. Every day we were in a different place. But then we were also in Český Krumlov, which is a town in the Czech Republic. And the next day I believe we were in Vienna.
Oh, beautiful.
And then the next day we were in Bratislava, Slovakia. So
That's lovely as well.
I
Yeah.
didn't realize we were going to be in all those different countries, namely the Czech Republic and Slovakia. And then the ship was supposed to go all the way back from Bratislava to Budapest, but the locks were closed because they were doing repairs on them. So they had to bus us to Budapest, which is a 2.5-hour drive. And then they did a bus tour of Budapest and then dropped us off at a hotel. And my husband and I stayed in Budapest for another 5 days.
Whoa.
And we did all kinds of exploring in Budapest. We did, besides that bus tour of just general over the city, we did another walking tour, which focused a lot on the Jewish area, where it was a ghetto and now is not, of course. And we saw the synagogues that were just awesome. The largest synagogue in Europe is there, and it's the third largest in the world. There's one larger in New York City and one larger in Israel. And it's just a beautiful synagogue. And during the war, in the ghetto, people passed away, and they had to bury them inside the ghetto. And normally Jews don't bury graves in the synagogues, but they ended up creating a mass grave, and hundreds of people are buried in it. And it was very moving to see that and to hear the story about how it was, of course. Another day we did a walking tour to see, to focus on buildings with Art Nouveau architecture, which are just sort of scattered all over the city. So we had a lot of interesting walks and tours, and on the cruise, just for the cruise, we were with two friends of ours. One of them is a woman that I have known since I was in kindergarten. And
Wow.
she and her friend invited us to go on this cruise 2 years ago. And we were scheduled to go a year ago in November. And of course, it got delayed by COVID twice. And then we weren't even sure we were going to be able to go this time. But we did. And the four of us we laughed all week long that we were together. It was just so much fun. David, how's it going?
Well, I'm unwrapping the two sources of yarn because I had it stored in a sack, and while it's in the sack, it travels around, like worms.
Oh, right.
You knew that yarn will do that. It comes to life when you're not in the same room.
Yes. Deliberately winds itself up.
When I was a little kid, I was absolutely convinced that the mannequins in the department store came to life after the store closed. I think I got it from a Mickey Rooney movie.
Oh no.
Terrifying. absolutely terrifying. And if you know Stephen Sondheim's work, you know that one of his plays takes place in a department store after it's closed and the mannequins come to life.
Oh, yeah.
There's a song in it called Take Me to the World. Anyway, all right, I think I'm there. And I'm going to hold up stuff so you can see.
Okay, hold on just a second. Have to copy Jenny's email address somewhere. I got it. Now I'm coming back to Zoom. There you are.
One of the things that was really troubling when I did this was that for some reason the two needles got very, very tangled up in what I created. So I
Oh,
eventually sort of cheated. And I'm hoping that my needles, if you look at the needles now, I've created something that I think holds them together. Does this make sense? This is the loop at the end. Here's where the two needle points are. And
where the two needle points are oh, I see. Okay, they're out the same end.
now,
Yeah,
is that correct? Or should I be moving them to some other location? I use double points to get to this, thinking that I had really screwed that up. But you can see I have,
No, I always use double points.
okay,
You've knitted, have you knitted, wait, it looks like you've done both the back and the front. Is that true?
yes,
Oh,
yes.
so you already picked up stitches along the cast on edge.
Yeah, I have a kind of seam right
Yes,
there.
that's right. That's where you picked up the stitches. Yeah. I
Yes.
didn't know you, I thought that was what you were
No.
looking at.
Yeah, and now where I am, as you can see, this connecting here, which would be the front of the sweater,
Mm-hmm.
so that I would end up with something that looks like a donut, a square donut.
That's right.
Right. I don't know how to get from, I don't know how to make the connection for this flap to this flap that will mirror that.
It looks to me like you're ready to go do a purl row on your fronts.
Okay.
Is that where you're at in your instructions?
Um, front neck. I have been marking on the printed copy little checks when I know I finished something. So
I can't hear you when you go.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's
I've been marking rows
uh-huh.
as I have finished. So I'm looking for some sort of title that will tell you where I think I am. There was
Well, I think you're in the section called front neck shaping.
yes.
Now, which row in that are you?
I have not cast on anything.
Have you done, let's see, have you
I've done
done the first two rows? Oh, it might be good if I used your pattern. Why don't you tell me your sweater pattern number? Your sweater number, the number is the last line in the pattern. Go to your last page and look at the very bottom, and it will say sweater number something. And I need to know that number.
728.
728. Good. Now I'm looking at exactly your pattern.
Oh,
Yes. Good. So you're at front neck shaping, but you haven't done anything because the first thing you do is a cast on row.
okay.
Isn't that right?
It says cast on row 1, right shoulder.
Yes. How about the instruction before that? Row 4 in the previous section, purl to end. Have you done that?
I believe I have because I put a check there.
Okay, well, let me see it again.
this
It looked
is-
to me like you were ready to do a purl row,
Yeah,
but you should
I
be ready to do
purled.
the row.
I purled here to what I think of as the end of the right flap.
Yes.
Am I using the right terminology? Do you see there's the
Yeah,
marker?
yeah.
And I have
And
a
then
piece,
did you purl to the end of the other one as well?
literally being the opposite direction.
No, you keep going in the same direction on the
Yeah.
other side.
Yeah, I purled and sorry, I purled to there. So if I were to hold it up in front of me, the two sources of yarn are purled rows each time, both
Okay.
sides.
Okay,
And
so
on what looks
you're
to me
ready to
like,
do a knit row. You're ready to do a knit row.
okay,
And that's your cast on row.
okay,
So you just follow those instructions there. It says on the right shoulder, is that what you're ready to knit? The right
yeah.
shoulder?
And it says knit to the neck edge.
That's the gap that's in the middle.
Okay, that I can do.
Then turn the work to the wrong side and using cable cast on 3 stitches.
All right.
And then using the other thread on the left shoulder, you knit to the end.
Okay, now let me just say that what I think I'm having struggles with is there appears to be no needle available to me. Do you see what I did? In order to knit, in order to knit to the neck edge, I don't have a needle available to me.
You got 2 needle points together, right?
Yeah, yes. Do you see them?
Okay, yeah. Pull out the one in the bottom and use that one. Those are your 2 needle points to knit.
Yeah, and that's what I didn't know is which one of these needles should I be?
Well, you're not working on the back. It's just going to hang on the cable the whole time you're working on the front.
Okay. So what you're going to tell me to do is, ooh, I've pulled through this needle, and I'm going to
Hold
knit.
it up a little higher so I can see. Yeah.
I'm going to knit this to the knit to the
Wait,
knit.
your needles it has to be this needle with that needle. You've only got 2 needles. You got to get those 2 needles together.
Yes.
No, wait, but that's your right side marker.
Yes.
How can you be knitting on the right side if you're
Well,
something doesn't-
if I were going to knit, I would have to be working on the right side.
but your needle isn't there, or is it? I can't tell. It's kind of coming in and out of picture, and
Sorry.
it's also jumbled up.
Let me see.
I have a glare behind you.
Let me shut that window and maybe move. Hang on a minute.
It does look like that his needle is on the left shoulder.
Yes, both of them.
Okay.
Both of them are on the left shoulder. Shouldn't they be on the right shoulder if he's about to knit?
I wonder if it's because of the different way that he joined the back, that he said he did something different that way.
Oh,
He got
did
confused.
you do something different on the back?
I didn't, but what it seemed to me is I had the correct shape of the fabric made, but the needles were so tangled up that I ended up using a double point to put them on the left side. If we call it the
Oh,
left
you mean you
side,
transferred all your stitches to another needle?
no, I just,
Oh, well, as long as you kept them all on the same needles, you didn't screw it up.
right. That's what I figured. I
Right.
could adjust this. I could
Now,
figure
those 2 needles, are they coming out of the right side or the left side?
they're coming out of the left side.
And which is the front and which is the back? I can't tell.
The front is toward me.
No, the front of the sweater. You're working on the front of the sweater. You finished the back, right?
Yes.
So put the back entirely on the cable and just leave it there while you work the front. Isn't that how it works, Cindy?
Yeah, and it looks like it is, but I'm not
Okay.
sure that he hasn't twisted it around a little bit.
And I'm pretty
I
sure
don't know.
that must be because I was just trying to get the tangle. It seemed like the needles were always in the wrong place when I was knitting. So do you see, this is the right side.
You have to hold it higher. You're completely off of there.
This
Yeah,
is the right
that's the
side.
right side. But you say you just finished a purl row.
And when I finished the purl row, I manipulated the needles.
What do you
to
mean
be-
by that? What did you do to manipulate the needles?
I took I'm calling this the flap,
Okay.
for lack of the thing. I transferred it over to a double point.
This is where you messed up. You should not
That's
have
where it was.
transferred the stitches at all, ever.
Okay.
They are that you probably got it back on the needles the wrong way. That's what Cindy is saying from
Mhm.
best we can
Yeah.
tell.
Okay. Does it make sense to try to use double needles to put them back on correctly?
And I
Where's the working yarn
yes, where's the
for
working
each of
yarn?
the fronts?
They are in my lap. I have
Well, I guess it's better than on the floor.
yes. Okay. I have a ball of yarn that
No,
is attached.
we want to know where it comes into the sweater. We
Where
don't
is it at
we
the
don't care where the
sweater?
ball is.
Oh, well, that's what I thought you were asking me.
No, we don't care where the ball is.
Truly hate prepositions.
Yeah.
Okay. As we've defined this, because there's no marker, this is the left flap, and the source of the yarn is coming from the neck edge.
Okay.
Okay, but the needle is coming out the other end, right?
That's
Right.
correct.
It should not be.
So the needles should be the other way.
Your yarn should your needles should be in the same location as of the free yarn, so you can start knitting with it.
And just quietly behaving myself while you do whatever you're going to do, I think I can get them there using some double needles.
No, I think here's what you need to do. Take the needle that is coming out of the left side of the back, the cable that's coming out of the left side, the needle that's coming out of the left side of the back,
Yes.
and curl it or push the other needle into the knitting.
Okay.
Now, if I understand it right, you need to just transfer all of the stitches from the needle that they're on to the needle that you pulled out of the back.
It's fairly easy. What you just said makes sense. I think I can do it by
And-
simply inserting the needle along the cable
Right.
Not along the cable.
and make it come out right here.
You want the needle to come out there,
Yes,
but
I can do
but
that.
not along the cable. You're doing it needle tip to needle tip.
Mhm.
You should be doing it needle tip to needle tip. You're not doing it against the cable.
Well, here's
Hold it
the
up
new-
again. We
here's-
need to keep seeing it so we
Sure.
can keep orienting.
okay,
Yes. All right.
here's the needle tip that I'm not touching. Here's the one that you told me
To pull
insert.
out. All right, the one you just said not touching,
Yeah,
pull it all the way back into the fabric.
Or push it into the fabric.
Push it in the fabric. Make that needle tip be workable there.
There you go.
Yes.
Yes, keep going.
And that's your
Yes.
left side, right?
yes.
Yes.
Okay,
But the
Then-
working yarn is coming off of the other end of that
the
section.
other edge.
And also the other end of the other section.
Yes.
Right. Okay, so what you need to do is just slip now. Now you got it. Just slip the
Point
stitches
to point.
from point to point.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's
that's
kind
it.
of what I was doing when I said
Yeah.
follow. Yeah. Okay. So I got 2 points facing each other,
That's right.
and I'm sort of exchanging
That's all it is. You're just passing
One
it from one to the
needle.
other.
That's
the,
right.
the needle. Okay.
Very good.
I knew this was going to be the rule. I knew this is what you were going to tell me.
Yeah, and in the future, if you think you have to put it on double pointed needles, you don't. That's where you got it oriented wrong.
Well, they seemed so tangled up. I had to keep
Yeah.
taking the balls of yarn and
Oh, I know. It can,
reorienting them. Okay, so now I now have a needle and I have the source on the left.
okay, now get the other end, the other flap, as you're calling it.
Yes.
Hold it up so I can see it. Don't change, don't turn anything around. I want to see it in the same orientation. You just, oh, no, I wanted to see the two flaps together. Where are the flaps? And what did you just finish transferring? Okay,
That one. Okay, yeah.
now pull that loop out of that side in your right hand. Is that your right hand?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Pull that loop out. Now pick up the other needle.
And transfer those stitches exactly the same way.
Hold it up so we can see what you're doing. Yes. Now you got the other needle and pull that yarn out to the needle tip.
Mhm.
Pull that working,
Pull the knitting
pull the
out to the
knitting
needle.
out to the needle
to the
tip.
needle tip. Yeah.
And there's not a working yarn there, is there?
Let me look.
No, it's on
The
the other
working
side.
yarn is on the outside
Yeah,
by the
I see the
marker.
working
Mhm.
yarn is where your marker is.
Yes.
So
Okay,
as soon as you've gotten those transferred, you're in the right spot.
that's right. So hold it up again. We need to keep seeing it for a minute.
Yes. Yes.
All
And
right. So you're going to transfer those stitches from your left hand to your right hand needle,
got
just
it.
like you did before.
Okay.
So you're doing all the stitches across the front, just transferring them.
There's a woman who lives below me who's 103,
Hmm.
and she took out from her drawer a sweater she had knitted 50 years ago, which was a beautiful Donegal sweater. You know what I'm talking about?
No,
Cable.
what's Donegal? No.
Donegal is the town in Ireland where
Oh.
they make these gorgeous cardigans with lots of cabling.
Oh.
And I said, "How did you do that?" And she said, "I obeyed what they told me at the shop."
Yes, and that's what I tell you. Obey what the instruction tell you to do. Exactly. All right, you've completed that.
Yes.
Now you are going to turn it around and you're going to knit those stitches.
Which happens to be the right.
Yes.
I'm going to knit to here.
Let's see, what did the instruction say?
It says
You're going
It's
to
knit to,
right
knit to the
shoulder
neck
knit to
edge.
the neck
to the neck
edge,
edge.
Mhm.
and
that's
then you're
right.
going to cast on 3 stitches after that.
I never go beyond a column, a comma before somebody else has to tell me what. So
All
I'm
right.
gonna go. I'm gonna go to the comma, and then you may.
All right. So knit those stitches. Very good.
You see, I'm really quite obedient when it comes to.
Well done, David. I get the just direction. So I am so directionally challenged. I'm kind of dyslexic.
It's the prepositions. It's not dyslexia.
I don't know. Mine
It's
is
English
dyslexia. I can't even figure out which way to like turn the faucet. I'm really bad.
All right. Let me just knit to the to the neck edge. Then
Yes.
we will proceed.
And you know where the neck edge is. It's the gap in between those two sides.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, notice that the back stitches are just on the cable. And they're just going to stay there. Do you see that? Can you tell that?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. We're good. We're oriented. Now, when you
Yay!
get there, we will come back to you, David.
See, I don't know that you could do any teaching without your students here to
To be
to move
rowdy.
you along.
That's right. It inspires me.
All right, we're almost there. This is this is just 18 stitches at this point that I'm going down,
Uh-huh,
which I know is different for everybody, but
yes. So Maris, how are you doing?
Okay, well, right now I'm working on grafting something. I came to listen mostly. I started knitting the sample, whatever the sample size is.
Uh-huh,
And I was very, not really frustrated, but just sort of on edge because of all of the ends and moving all of the pieces around. And I thought, it might be easier for me to start on a adult size rather than something so small.
I highly recommend that.
Okay.
Because the small thing can be more difficult. But there are a lot of ends, and it can, as you see with David, it can get confusing.
Mhm.
But trust me, once you get past the first section, get the shoulders done and get it in the round, suddenly everything is easy. The rest of
And
the pattern is easy. The hardest part is getting started.
is the saddle shoulder part, is that new?
Oh, are you doing a saddle shoulder pattern?
No, but I didn't notice that and
No.
it's been a couple of months since I printed out my
No, the
sample
saddle
pattern.
shoulder has been there from the beginning, I believe.
Okay. But and I didn't look at it closely. The saddle is not attached to is the saddle attached to the sleeve?
Yes, the saddle
Okay.
runs continuously
Okay.
up to the neckline and down the sleeve, the way a saddle shoulder should be.
Okay. All right. Well, I guess I'll go ahead and gauge my yarn again and then try. Do you, and people make this into a cardigan easily, just kind of knowing, or would you suggest not doing that at first? Because you'd have to pearls, you'd have to put the pearls in and.
That's right. You have to make a lot of modifications but it all depends on how confident a knitter you are. If you're used to modifying patterns while you're working them and putting in your own changes, you can probably figure it out. And there's several ways to do it. Excuse me, my cold. Um, Sidra, I think you steeked yours, didn't you?
No, I did the Henley.
Oh, you did the Henley.
Instead
Okay.
of doing the placket, I just, went
Just kept going.
straight down.
Yeah, so that's another way to do a cardigan, is choose the Henley pattern. And then when it says close the placket, you don't close
Okay.
it, you keep going back and forth in flat.
Yeah.
Okay.
Somebody
That's-
has done a V-neck too, where they did and then just didn't close it in the center. So they
That's
gave
right.
a little bit more of a slope.
Ron did
And-
that.
That's
Yeah,
right.
that was how his was. And then I know there's several people that have done it where they just did the crew neck and they steeked it.
Oh,
If
okay.
you look on the Ravelry group under pictures, that part of the forum, there's actually a bunch of different pictures of people that have done
Wow.
several different.
Yeah, unfortunately for me, it seems that cardigans are more popular than all the patterns I put on the website, which are not cardigans. But we have, in the last few weeks, figured out multiple ways to do cardigans. And the easiest is to start with the Henley pattern if you want a high neckline on the cardigan. If you want a V-neck or a sloped neck, you start with the V-neck and then just not close it. You stop a few rows early and then just keep doing it flat.
Okay, I will take a look again then and figure something out.
But
I have this Aran weight yarn that someone gave me. So I don't really want it. I have never steeked anything that heavy.
I don't know that would steek well. What,
No,
anybody else
it
have
would-
an opinion?
Be too big of a bulge.
Yeah.
The Norwegians always steek that real heavy yarn.
Do they?
Yeah,
Oh,
because they make all their sweaters in the round,
uh-huh.
even the fancy ones, and then they essentially just take a pair of scissors and cut right down the middle. And
Right.
because the yarn is so easy to, what do you call it when the yarn sort of marries another,
Felts.
It kind of felts together.
it,
Yeah.
it felts together and then it works it. I have
But the
proceeded,
Norwegians are also typically, I have a book on Norwegian sweaters, and they're steeking. They, in this particular book, she says use a sewing machine
Oh.
to
seal it off. Yeah.
reinforce the steek
Yeah.
so that it doesn't come undone. There's another way to use a crochet hook, and that's the method I've used, but I've actually never done it to a sweater. I'm just too chicken.
Same here.
If I work a month or 6 weeks on a sweater, there's no way I'm going to cut it down the front.
I've chopped it up to put it in the garbage
Yeah, well, I could do
Oh,
that.
no,
at
David.
3 o'clock in the morning because I was so upset. I have proceeded 2 commas. So let
Oh,
me tell you where I am.
all right, did you cast on the 3 stitches?
That was not that hard to do. Yes,
Okay.
I got there and it said cast on the 3 stitches. Now, in parentheses, it says left shoulder. So
Yes.
that suggests that I have to drop everything I'm doing right now.
Well, it
I-
just means push that needle over into the stuff on the left shoulder. The fabric on the left shoulder should be the needle. Where's
Okay.
the
Yeah,
left
the
shoulder?
next fabric up. Mhm. Should be.
This twists around so much. It just makes me.
Yeah, that's okay now, but when you close the neckline, you need to make sure that thing isn't twisted.
Yeah. Okay. Am I using the other yarn source to do?
Yes.
Yes,
next?
yes. You're going to use the one yarn is creating the
Is left
right
and one
side
yarn
of the
is
front.
right.
The other
Got it.
yarn is creating the left side of the front until you join at the bottom of the neck. And then you're only going to use one yarn after that.
Okay, so then it says just knit to the end,
That's right. So that's
I'm
all
gonna-
you do.
and there's a period there, so I'm gonna do that.
That's what you should do. All right. Very good.
I'm a great believer in punctuation for its own sake. You know, if you're just brave enough to do what it tells you to, but it's sort of like I read it and I didn't know what it meant. So all right, this is easy.
Yeah.
And it actually is. It's just, I couldn't visualize it in my mind, but you just follow the directions bit by bit and it works out.
And once you've seen it happen, it's not quite as threatening.
That's
Mm-mm,
right.
No.
All right, so when I get
Yeah,
to
it
the,
doesn't look like a sweater now. You can't imagine how this is going to be a sweater for a long time until finally it starts.
It's like, what
Finally
is this
realize,
little
"Oh,
triangle thing?
I've got the shoulders and a neck. That's a sweater.
all right, I'm 2 stitches from the period, and now it says cast on row 2 on the left shoulder.
Wait a minute. Wait. Where are we? Oh, okay. You knitted to the end
Yes.
at the end of cast on row 1.
Yes.
Now you're going to turn the work and purl to the neck edge on the left shoulder where you just finished knitting. Oh my goodness.
Earthquake.
What's that?
Scared me. No, this is Fleet Week.
Oh,
And
yeah.
and we have all these jets doing over air display stuff, and they get real close to our house and it's like, whoa.
Oh,
So I guess the Blue Angels have flown over, huh?
Yes, it's the Blue Angels. That's right.
Frank, I don't understand when it says cast on row 2,
Yes.
and then it says in parentheses left shoulder.
You're
Here's
still working on the left shoulder. Yeah.
here's the left shoulder. When you say cast on row 2,
No, this is just the row you're going to do cast on. Oh,
Oh,
that's all. That's,
Okay,
it's just
okay.
labeling the instruction. It's
Got
not
it.
telling you to cast on anything yet. That's in the instruction you're about to execute.
Right here.
All right. And I purl to the neck edge.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
and now you turn the work around and cast on 3 stitches on that edge.
All right. Let me do the purl part.
Yeah.
I hate babies like me.
No, the ones that follow the instructions exactly have the best results, David.
Yes.
When I taught school, I divided every kid into one of 3 categories. Bluebirds who follow instructions. Bunnies who wait to be told. Squirrels, that was what I was, who just jump all over the place before they can.
What about the ones that talk all the time, like me,
That's
David?
that's a squirrel. Bluebirds raise their hands.
Oh no, I never do that.
They have shiny shoes.
So Maris, I can't remember. Did you have a question?
I'm sorry.
No, I was just laughing.
But yeah, I asked you earlier and I
Yes.
can't remember what you said. Did you
My
have?
question was about the small one versus just jumping in and starting with a life-size one,
Oh,
because the
right,
small one
that's
was
right.
just driving me crazy because of all the little
Well-
tiny things. And so I think I don't know, but I will figure something out. I will put in my measurements and order the pattern and then make a life-size one
I think
before
that's
I
a
use
good
my really
idea.
nice yarn.
And
I
I always
did
recommend
an
somebody just do a plain sweater first.
Mhm.
But the whole idea of the plain pattern is that it's easy to modify with cables or color or pattern stitch patterns. And but you have to add all that yourself if you want to do that. But
Right.
start with just a plain sweater. Don't steek it. Don't create a cardigan. Just
Mhm.
follow the instructions and see how the sweater works.
Okay. I will do that. And it's an air and weight, so it won't take long.
Yeah, it won't take long at all. That's good.
Okay, thank you.
And as you see, as I'm interacting with David, I'm here every week, except I wasn't here the last 2 weeks because I was traveling in Europe. But I'm here almost every week, and I am happy to work through wherever you're at and having trouble with, and just help you get through any hurdle you hit. So
Okay.
he,
Maren, Frank will hold your hand all through it.
yes.
That's a beautiful quilt behind you, by the way.
Oh, thank you. My daughter made that.
That is beautiful.
Mhm.
I'm now casting on the 3.
Okay.
My yarn is splitting.
For a long time, those 2 instructions didn't say turn the work and cast on. And people couldn't figure out how to cast on because they weren't, because you have to turn the work around to do it. And I didn't realize that was a problem until somebody pointed it out to me. So now that's why it says turn work to right side and cast on 3 stitches. Then you turn it back and continue purling across the right shoulder.
Now what I'm discovering is that there are needles where they should be.
Yes.
That's very comforting, Frank.
Yes. Yes. You're not being told to knit where there is no yarn to knit with either.
All right.
So what I worked on the cruise was my proof of concept pattern for my next sweater pattern for publication in Cast On Magazine. So I'll show you that. I haven't even submitted this as a proposal yet, but I'm pretty sure it will be accepted. And so this is going to be a V-neck sweater,
Beautiful.
and it's going to have these cables up the sides of the V-neck, and then they join below the V-neck, and then that cable will go all the way down the front of the sweater
Oh, that's beautiful.
on the front.
That's lovely. Yeah.
Now on the
Mhm.
back, it'll do something different. These two cables will still go diagonally down and meet, but of course on the back, this will be all filled in with stockinette stitch. But there'll still be two cables that come in like this and meet. I can't even, it's hard to do backwards. I keep moving my arms the wrong way. And then it's going to continue to narrow to a point. So let me see. So it's on the back. This is, the cables are going to go down and have a special way of working to a point and stopping.
Mhm.
So the
That's
back will
so
be a
pretty.
little different than the front.
Very nice.
And do your cables affect your gauge much? So have you got to add many extra stitches to compensate for it?
Oh, yes. And when I get the yarn that I'll be using, this is just a stash yarn,
Tusk, yeah, yeah.
just to prove the concept. And when I get the yarn that I'm using, I will take the gauge of the cable and I'll take the gauge of the stockinette,
Stockinette, yeah.
and I'll do an equivalency and figure out how many stitches I have to add where the cables are.
You always come up with such creative, different ideas. It's really neat, Frank.
It's so funny because I never know 2 or 3 sweaters in advance. I'm finishing a sweater, or I'm doing the easy part of the sweater, you know, the lower body, and I'm going, well, what am I going to do next? And then something will just pop in my head, or I'll
And then there it is.
read a pattern in the book or whatever, and then I know what I'm going to do next. I don't know what's going to happen when one of these times that sweater idea doesn't come. Guess I just won't.
Oh,
publish
I
one
bet
that
it will
far.
come. I bet it will come.
It seems
So
like
are
I
you-
should have more than one in advance, but I do. I design one at a time, one after another.
Are you going to modify your pattern generator as to where to add the extra stitches, or if somebody wants to do it, do they have to follow the pattern and work out themselves where to add the extra stitches?
That's a good question. Now, the answer is I am going to do all of the modifications and write it up as an independent pattern, which I will then publish in Cast On Magazine. But this pattern will not appear on the website. But if somebody wants to use the website to create a custom fit one, they could figure out the same way I did how many stitches to add. And, you know, somebody who's really a competent knitter, who's confident and knows how to make cable modifications will be able to work it out. And instead of making either small, medium, large, extra large, 2X large, they will be able to go to the website and create a custom fits pattern and then modify it. But that would be up to them to modify it. That's my philosophy about the website, is I'm trying to tell you how to do this Phrancko sweater where you have the set-in sleeves, knitted in the round, and then turn you loose to take these plain sweaters and turn them into fantastic works.
Yeah, you provide the tools and then we're supposed to be creative.
That's right.
We wreck the system, yeah.
Will you look at this, Frank? And
Sure.
I think I have a concept in my head about what's
Yeah.
happening.
Yes.
I have completed a cast on of 3 stitches on each side.
Yes.
Mhm.
And now the next instruction says, repeat those 2 instructions one more time.
So obviously what I'm doing is lengthening,
Three
I'm
in the neck.
creating this
The front neck.
line that's going to connect everything.
That's right. You're shaping the front of the neck is what you're doing.
And in this case, it says to do exactly the same thing that I did
One,
before,
yeah,
one more time.
Yep.
both rows, cast on row 1, cast on row 2, one more time. And then you're going to knit across and cast on all the rest of the stitches and join it. And that's when you need to be careful that your sweater is not twisted in the back.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you know that. That's when you're going to be starting to knit in the round. Well, depending on your pattern, it may be a few rows later, or it may be right at the end of that row.
It makes so much more sense now. It's really kind of a beautiful thing to see it. It's like turning the heel on a pair of socks.
That's right. How does this work? Oh,
It is a very elegant design, and it just all fits together. It's really nice. And wait till you do the little sleeve caps. That's so cool.
Don't upset me, please.
No. You can do it. You can do
you
it.
can do it. Just keep following it from one punctuation mark to the next. Does anybody else have anything they'd like to say or show before we go?
Well, mine's getting long. I'm adding the stripe. It's kind of the back the way I'm holding
Well,
it.
you didn't show us what you're working on yet? My
Oh, this
goodness.
is the it's the round neck.
Yes. Oh, yes.
There we
We've seen
go.
it
And then I'm
before,
doing
but look
stripe.
how far you've gone. Oh, and you're
Stripe.
putting
Yeah,
a
I'm
stripe.
putting a stripe in it.
That's great.
Yeah. So it's coming. I do like how just the heathery look of the yarn.
Yeah,
It's
that's
nice.
really beautiful.
And you can see all my funny little, where I did my little increases. These are my little funny dental elastics. So
Oh,
that,
yes.
so that I know where they all are, that I can count really easy.
So you finished your little sweater then for your
Oh
youngest?
yes, the little one is done. I can show you that one. I've even blocked it. It turned out good. Da-da-da.
Oh, my
that is
little one.
cute.
Look at that.
Now this one I did. It's all garter stitch, but I did it in garter purl because I felt like I needed to practice more. So I did it, and it's all done. So now
That's
all
very-
9 grandchildren have a sweater.
Oh, that's amazing.
So
And just for full disclosure, that is not a Phrancko pattern because it's
that is not a
a-
Phrancko pattern.
it's a
No.
raglan,
For the
and I don't do raglans.
yeah, for the little
it's
tiny
beautiful.
one like
It's
that,
abs-
you can't really get them over their heads very well.
It's absolutely
little
beautiful,
guys.
Cindy. I think that's a
It
great,
turned out cute.
cute
It's fun.
pattern. Anybody else have anything to say before we go?
Just thank you.
Well, you're certainly welcome. I love doing this. And it's very
It's a fun
fulfilling.
group.
Rana put into the chat, beautiful, Cindy.
Oh, thank you, Rana.
You're welcome.
Well, then I guess it's time to say goodbye. We do try to keep it to the exact hour as close as we can. And hopefully I'll be over this cold by next week and I won't keep
I hope you
dabbing
feel
my
better.
nose with a Kleenex. I was going to turn off my video every time I needed to do that, but I just gave up. So.
If you did that, we'd all think something was wrong with our computers.
We
That's
would.
right.
It's like it went blank. Why? What happened?
Well, I'm so happy to hear that there were people meeting for the last 2 weeks when I couldn't be here.
Yeah.
And that means we're forming a real community here, and it's
We
really,
really are.
really
It's
nice.
fun. It's fun.
Thank you
We
so much.
missed you. We're glad you're back.
Yes, you did. Thank you, Jenny.
Okay,
Thank you. Now I have something to do till next time.
Yes,
that's right.
Bye.
yes. Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank
And
you.